We all thought that the storm was going to New Orleans, which is why we stayed at the Baytown Inn. That house was built in 1899, and I felt very comfortable there. It withstood so much. So 7 of us and 2 dogs were in the house. It was a beautiful old historic family home that had been made into an inn. So we'd all slept there the night before and probably got up about 5:30 in the morning to kind of check and see what was going on. Um, it was pretty spooky at that point because not many people had stayed. Most had evacuated. Um, so the 2 guys and I, Doug was a hurricane hunter, and had actually flown the storm. So he was there, and then Kevin Guillory, friend of mine, and I drove around town, didn't see many people, got back to the inn, and we were completely shuttered in. They had barricaded the inn the night before. Probably about 9 a.m. or so, the water started coming in through the front door. My Jeep, I could see through the back window of the kitchen, was floating. And we decided to go upstairs, all of us, to room number 5, which was on the second floor at the back of the house. The house was sitting on a ridge about 24 feet above sea level, and it was also 6 feet up. So you were 30 feet above the water. We thought we were protected. And then the ceilings were 12 feet high. So we were up 42 feet at that point. And about 9:30, as close as I can figure, the biggest tidal wave ever of approximately 40 feet came through, completely demolished the first floor and all the rooms around us. And who knows why, but we were saved in this one little room. So Kevin helped the older couple, Dick and Nadine, get on a piece of either flooring or roof, I don't know which. And I can remember them spooned together as they floated off, not floated, but were pushed by the waves away from us. They were saved that afternoon by the sheriff. One of my friends and her husband, he got to a tree behind us, and she was trying to save herself with all the debris. Doug got to the oak tree in the back first and kind of waved to Kevin and I to get to it. I dog paddled with my little Scotty, and we made it to the tree. And then Kevin made it. So it was Doug with his back to the water. My Scotty and I, she was under my stomach. We were wrapped around a limb, and then Kevin was facing the water. And yeah, we were up there for probably 3 or 4 hours, and Kevin would say duck when a wave was coming, and we would all duck. Then finally, it got really cold when the eye passed. And I remember it being just so cold. Doug looked down and said, "The water is starting to recede. We better get down." So he jumped. Luckily, didn't hurt himself. I lifted my Scotty down, and then I jumped down, and then Kevin. All you could see was mud. There was nothing left of the inn. There was nothing left of the street in front of us. It was all torn up completely. We found a couple friends that had stayed, and we saw that our little town was just decimated. There was so little, there were buildings left, yes, but they were in rough shape. And that evening, I remember Kevin went and scavenged what he could out of refrigerators that were, left standing. The next morning, just kind of wandered around, still trying to find what was left and any people that were left. It was rough. It was ugly, and the smell is something that never goes away. It's what the water brings in is pretty brutal. A couple of us were able to borrow a truck and drove to Jackson on Wednesday. One of the men had really hurt himself pretty badly, and we needed to get him to a hospital, and ours had been completely ruined. So we went up there, and then my dad came down from St. Louis to pick me up. I went up to St. Louis, and my brother was a priest, Episcopalian priest at the time. His bishop said, go back to the coast, they need you. So a friend of my dad's loaned us a pickup and loaded it up with gas and supplies, and we drove back to the Bay that Saturday. Um, we just spent days trying to salvage if there was anything left at the inn. A friend of mine, her family had built the inn, the Demontlison family, and she had left, had evacuated. Her daughter came down, and we were able to find out of her destroyed home silver pieces that had been in the family for decades, going back to Louis the 16th, believe it or not. And my brother and I, found all of the silver that was found, that was from her dining room, and brought it out and cleaned it for her. Other neighbors came by, and we would help each other try to find things on our property. And then we would take those pieces, if they weren't ours, and put them at the side of our property so the people could come and gather what was theirs. I found very little pieces. I found an apron that my mom had made for me, a few dishes, a few pots and pans, but that was really it. I would like to thank the people that came and helped us. The storm hit on Monday. On Tuesday, there were volunteers here providing us with food. There were churches. People stopped what they were doing and came here to help. It still hurts every day, uh, and especially so on the anniversary. At 9:30 on August 29th, that morning, I call Kevin Guillory every year, and we share and we talk, um, because we got through it together. Um, but this year, especially marking 20 years, is going to be hard. Um, I I will remember with my friends what I went through, what many of us went through. I will take a walk down Main Street and be so happy with all that has happened and been rebuilt. But I'll spend some time alone too, thanking my mom, who I think was on my shoulder that day, saying, it's not your time. You got more to do. And I did. I had the love of my life come forward after that storm. We married, and we weren't married long before he passed away, but I did have more coming. I had happiness yet to live. And so you think back over 20 years and what's happened, and I am just so thankful for all of us here that we have prospered and we have the strength to keep going. And we're all still here, and we're all still strong.